All right, so you guys asked for it. We're going to do a huge rundown of gaming tokens and some of the fastest movers in the category of Web3. You guys are not going to want to miss this one. Stick around. It's going to be a good one. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back to the Tech Path. Let's start off with the big boy of them all, and that is Animoca Brands. If you're looking at Animoca Brands, then you have already kind of recognized their prowess in the industry. And I want to go into, and kind of just to give you guys a format, we're going to go in through, I think it's 18 categories. We'll break each one down, give you some of the players within it. There's a lot of new ones, and there's some which have been around here for a while, but we'll break them all down for you guys and get you going. But here is just kind of the one premise behind Animoca, obviously being Mocaverse. And you think about this, 340 investments in their portfolio. If you look at the size of this ecosystem overall, Animoca has positioned themselves as one of the major players out there. So definitely Mocaverse is going to be one of the key ones to watch. And if you're not following it over on OpenSea, catch it over here. This thing has continued to perform at a high level, and we've seen it do a pretty good job here. Just to give you an example of the performance, this is just a performance of Mocaverse basically outperforming ETH. That's crazy. That's just crazy. So that's category one. Animoca Brands, kind of the all-encompassing category, Mocaverse being one of the big ones. Let's go to our next one, and this is going to get into the Avalanche Gaming ecosystem and some of the players that really are within that. Now, some of them you're going to recognize, some you might not recognize, but Shrapnel, of course, everybody, I would say, we've had the Shrapnel team on before, but I would say still Shrapnel as one of our leaders out there. And of course, Off the Grid, which is Gunzilla when it comes to the crypto side of things. The question is whether or not this is going to get a successful launch. They're pushing it pretty hard. So Off the Grid, definitely one to be looking at. So I just want to go over to the Avalanche CEO talking about Off the Grid and Gunzilla. Listen in.
So Off the Grid is coming. This game is insane. And in fact, it's the team that gave you Call of Duty. I was addicted at the end of 20 minutes. I am literally addicted. You know, last time I was this crazy about the game, I don't know what it was, Boulder Dash, Frogger, back in those days or something.
All right, so I mean, MN was definitely pumped on it. This was our most anticipated console game of the year. So this one is the one to watch for sure. Others within this, I want to get into Mirai, Pegasi, and Petopia. Remember, we had the Mirai team on here recently. And GuildTech is going to be, I think, could be one of the very interesting things that could happen within the space in terms of growing ecosystems, meaning gamers. And I think this will be one to watch as well. Pulsar is another one within the Avalanche ecosystem, and we've shown this before around the subnets. Pulsar, of course, taking up pretty much all the transactions. So Pulsar definitely one to watch here overall. Then you get into Beam. And Beam, if you guys were not aware, Beam, really Avalanche ecosystem, but has, of course, partnered up with IMX. So that's created a very unique position, I think, for Beam as having the ability to kind of grow in gaming for sure. All right, I want to get into our next one, and that is Polygon. So there's a lot happening within Polygon gaming. One of the things I want to focus on here are the key games, and then there's a handful that you probably heard us talk about. So our most anticipated Polygon game is Wildcard. If you look at this tweet right here, I want to show you something within this play. If you'll notice here, the audience layer around this, these are all NFT holders. So this is where it could become more of an audience-driven gamification. So very interesting tactics for sure. Magic Eden, you can kind of look at the Genesis Wild Pass over there as well. So a lot happening within that ecosystem. The Rev ecosystem is the other one I want to call attention to, and we'll jump over here to what's happening with Torque Drift 2. And this, of course, just showcased the multiplayer Mario Kart within it. This is more of a creator economy component that I think really makes it unique. So Rev, keep an eye of what's happening there. Immutable-x, let's go into IMX. Immutable-x, for the purpose of size, expansion, and growth, we're actually adding IMX back to our MSI, which is our market sentiment index on our Web3 and gaming sector. So that's going to be coming back for you guys that have been asking for it. But it's very, it's a large ecosystem. Question is whether or not IMX has got anything thing left in the tank in terms of growth and opportunity as maybe investing in from a token side. I'd love to get your feedback. Do you guys think that IMX has still got a lot to go yet in terms of more partnerships and possibly more games? Let me know. Drop some comments down below. We'll definitely try to get to some of those. The other one that I want to focus on is, of course, Animoca. And Animoca, this is the gamey token, but it's also the Telegram platform, the game platform within Telegram itself. And we've showed this before a couple of times. This is one to watch as well. Let's see here. What else is over there? We got to take a look at Sandbox. Of course, Sandbox, if you have not watched us before, Sandbox has done some unique things. And one of the cool things, I think, is going into the mobile element. And when we think about gaming in general, for the most part, Web3 gaming, you know, outside of Axie Infinity, obviously a mobile game, what we're going to see now, I think, is a real acceleration toward mobile gaming. And of course, if Sandbox leads the way with that, it will be huge. So it's one to watch for sure. Now, we actually did a checklist for Sandbox, and this is our breakdown that we do of certain projects, and I've got a few of them here. So Sandbox, of course, they pretty much hit the mark on all of these categories: active community, mass appeal demographics, self-custody, and top wallets. Cross-platform, though, they may be able to achieve once they get that mobile platform. And Sebastian Borge, their CEO, basically says, yes, this is going to happen. Multi-game ecosystem, NFTs on major marketplaces, obviously we know that. Easy onboarding, still a little sticky. Innovative, I still think they are. A creator economy, definitely one of the best out there. And then a very good CEO, visionary, and definitely interoperable in terms of third party. So that is a benefit. This is actually one of the best games out there in terms of the overall checklist. So definitely Sandbox could be another big winner this series. Another one group that I want to really focus in on, of course, has been Solana. Solana, I think, has quietly been getting into a very strong position within gaming because they were a little bit weak in the last run, and it's starting to showcase right now. A few things that I want to focus in on, of course, is Star Atlas, Honeyland, and also Decimated. Those are the three. This is Star Atlas checklist. Star Atlas has quite a few. We put some yellow marks in mass appeal, question mark there still yet. Cross-platform, console mobile, probably that's going to take some time. And then NFTs on major marketplaces, not there yet. And then interoperable with third-party games, not quite there yet, but working on that. So this is another good checklist for games. And I do like Star Atlas. It's definitely one of the big tokens that I think has an opportunity, Atlas being the token for sure. Our last one, and you guys have heard us talk about this, we actually had the CEO, I'll show you that in a second, but we had the CEO of Honeyland on the show. This is by far the best, I think, the best mobile game for Web3. The way that they've created this architecture for this gameplay, what they've done in terms of the reward system, how it's tied to the token, very, very, just it's done well. So they've done an excellent job. And if you've been tracking the HXD token, you already know it's been flying a little bit. So a lot of things happening within their checklist. Active community, mass appeal already. Remember, this is a Web 2 studio coming into Web 3, and they have functionality in both. That's very key. Cross-platform, cross-mobile, mobile, of course, console. I don't know if that necessarily will be the case. We asked him that in the interview. If you haven't watched that interview, what I would do is go over to our channel, check this interview out right here on the Honeyland. This was an excellent breakdown of everything they were doing in terms of roadmaps and all that. This is kind of interesting, too. If you'll notice right here on screen, we have the CEO of Honeyland and one of the CEOs or one of the founders over from Axie Infinity, which is Alexander. Interesting that Honeyland got more views than the Ronin video. So I don't know if that means anything, but it definitely is intriguing because it always, audience tells us stuff when we get into that. Back to their checklist. Quite a bit here, NFTs on major marketplaces. If you know how Honeyland works, when you're creating the, your gameplay, it's generating these opportunities within Magic Eden. So very interesting and innovative. Creator economy, not there yet. CEO, visionary, and interoperable with third-party games. All good. All right, so let's get into another one. I'll go over to our next category, and this is Mythical Games. And this, of course, is Nitro Nation, NFL Rivals, Blancos. We'll get into some of these. I'll show you Crypto Slam here. Mainly, if this is one that I think a lot of people are sleeping on. That's Mythos Chain. which again, this just gets back into, remember, they have activity already within Amazon Prime Gaming. And that, I think, automatically gives them credibility in the gaming sector. So definitely one to watch. Zynga Games, this essentially is Sugartown. Sugartown, I think, is going to be the one to watch, and that being an NFT. And I'd love to know what NFT projects that are game related for you guys have been on your radar for this year. If you were to acquire an NFT, what would that look like today? Let me know. Drop some comments down below. Here, of course, is the the Sugartown. I love these guys. And if you haven't checked this out, go over to OpenSea and check out Sugartown. It's a pretty cool project and definitely some interesting movement here. Starting to get, let's go to the 7-day, let's go to the 90, 30-day. You can see Sugartown's flattening off there a little bit. Let's take the 90 up. And then there's the growth right there in terms of volume and price. So this is one to keep an eye on as Zynga kind of starts to showcase there. Definitely one to watch. Ronin, of course, is kind of the big question mark when you look at Ronin Games. Now, we had Alexander on the show last week. He and I talked quite a bit and in depth about the potentials of what that looks like. Remember, Pixels came over from Polygon into the Ronin ecosystem. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I just don't know yet. And I think with Ronin, with so many other projects coming up fast, the fact that we have the ETH ecosystem, the Solana ecosystem, and the Avalanche ecosystem, there's just so much, I think, that will create a lot fewer opportunities, I think, for the Ronin ecosystem. So I don't know. You guys let me know. This, of course, was the video if you guys want to go back and watch it. Ronin, we didn't like what we heard on the interview. But hey, listen, everybody has a chance to kind of correct things and figure out what they're going to do. But, go back and listen to it. Tell me what you guys think when you hear the interview. Let me know. Azra Games, this is one that has been around a bit of a while. In fact, we actually had an interview with the CEO all the way back a year ago. This was the Azra Games CEO. If you haven't watched it, this came from the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes creator. This guy is legit. And when you listen to him talk about, at the time, remember, he had nothing. The game wasn't there. Nothing was really developed. But the concept and what they were trying to do was in his head. And I think that, being as early as we were to pick that one up, I really like Azra as a potential here for Project Legend. So definitely one to keep an eye on. Of course, right here is a little bit more on the Project Legends, and you kind of see here. If you guys do want to go into it, this is one option right there. A little bit of the movement here over the last 90 days. Also starting to move up the charts as well. So definitely one to watch. I'm going to play a clip because this is the latest information from Azra, the CEO, now a year later, and where they are. Listen into this clip.
Power through collection, combat that fights as one, and a world worth saving.
We're developing a party-based game where your entire collection can fight as one.
Our goal by the end of the year is to have a quest system, upgrades, multiple characters that you can play within a full world itself.
All right, so they've come a long way in a very short period of time. And I think that's the credibility that a good Web 2 studio brings to Web 3. And that's what we've been watching for. Someone big is going to come out of this sector from Web 2 to Web 3 and really hit some home runs. We've already seen a little bit of that with Honeyland and their mobile, but can Azra be, that in the future? So watch that one for sure. Let's go over to VR, AR games. Of course, a lot of things have happened here recently with AR, VR. Some of the things I want to focus in on was this tweet right here that we put out. It looks like this has gone viral. Tried to warn everyone, 11,000 games on instantly added to VR. Quest becomes the hottest game in the console. We showed data on that a couple of weeks ago. Also, AR, VR wins the game for the year of accolades. That's going to be huge. Apple Vision, is, of course, now I think is going to be interesting because we're going to see this thing launch. And a lot of people, I think, are going to be caught off guard with what Apple Vision Pro is going to do. Meta becomes the AI game dev powerhouse, obviously, with this new technology. And you can kind of see what it looks like when a game that is designed for console gets ported over to VR. So this is a big deal and could really open up a lot of different opportunities in this space. So one to watch for sure. Further within this, Vulcan Forge, of course, they were the first NFT game on MetaQuest, but they were a little bit late in the sense that, there was a little bit of similarities to, some other games that were out there. So something to think about. So really, there's only one, I think, that wins this space. We actually had the Prime team on Parallels, I should say team on, and this showcased a little bit more of what was happening with what they're doing. So they have done it, and they were very excited about this. This was about 4 or 5 months ago when we showed this. And the uniqueness around Vision Pro and what the connection is, I think here for games like Parallel, this is going to be one to watch. So go back and check that video out if you guys did not catch it. All right, so let's go to our next category, our 10th category, NFT and collectible marketplaces. This is Mcfarlane Digital, Magic Eden, Flowverse, all of these kind of falling into the category of best of. And we've had a chance to talk to these teams before. I want to go to a clip real quick and give you kind of an understanding of where this has potential. Listen in.
You have a choice. You can either buy a couple of our big toys and not have a refrigerator, because you only got 600 feet. Or you could have a refrigerator and not have the toys and not collect. Or you can get it digitally. And then you get into other silly arguments. Give me your phone. You're doing exactly what it is that you're saying that you think is weird. Is that a picture of your grandchild? That digital picture is putting a smile on your face. So I'm going to ask you one question. You know that's not a fucking real grandchild, right? That's a digital picture of your grandchild. So why can't this happen with art? And the answer is, it is. I'm just going, could you just get out of the way because there's somebody behind you that actually might enjoy it?
So that was Todd McFarlane there. I think he is trying to bridge the chasm. It's that transition of one phase of technology to the next phase. There's always a struggle, and that's what we're dealing with here, I think, with digital collectibles. But if you look at what's happening, he is exactly right. A lot of sold outs here around his digital collectibles going forward, especially around the fidgetals. So this is another thing I think that eventually will rule out as being the way to go. Sure, there's going to be fidgetal, strategies because that's how it works. Obviously, we've seen this with Artifact and many other projects that have been able to achieve that. If and when, I should say, when Mcfarlane gets into the ETH ecosystem, this is going to be a good one because you're going to see a lot more opportunity there for sure. All right, that of course gets into things around the Flowverse, and that would be what's happening with Cryptoys and their marketplace. All this is coming soon now, so I'm looking for that one to really kind of be a big factor. Another one I want to play into this is Disney, and I want to go to a clip on this because this is Pinnacle, one that I think a lot of people have been watching for, but listen in.
I just finished my first week in Disney Pinnacle's closed release, and I swear you wouldn't know anything is on chain. I'm actually so obsessed with the revolving storefront, which typically changes the pins every 4 hours or so. I also thought I wouldn't care to buy more pins, but I've 100% simped and bought another pin every single day since. The trading and marketplace hasn't even opened yet, which has me a little bit impatient, but other than that, I certainly think that this app has some legs, especially for non-Web3 natives.
All right, so one thing that is intriguing here is that brand IP has now made it into the digital frontier. We've already proven that it could happen. We just haven't seen a lot of follow-up successes. And I think Disney will be one of those bigger successes, but there will be many brands now starting to take this track, go down the Artifact Nike, rabbit hole, and really understand what brand IP can be in the digital format. Back to what Mcfarlane was talking about. There's a transition that needs to happen for collectors, and I think this is the era in which it does happen, which means all of these projects, some have tokens, some of course are NFTs. All of this is moving in only one direction for collectors, and that's up. So definitely keep an eye on that. Our category 11 I want to get into is tokenized assets. Now this gets into a couple other areas. This is going to go into Courtyard, Brinks, and Dibs. And I want to hit on a few of these. The first one I'll go to, of course, is Courtyard. I think you guys we mentioned this in one of our news roundups here recently, but basically it's taking collectible cards and fractionalize investing. Think about this with pieces of art. It's already being done right now with things like Masterworks. You can invest in these things. All of this is going to happen around these collectibles. And I think that is a huge opportunity going forward, especially in the collectible space right here. Amazon invested in Dibs. They thought it was so good. All right, we need our alternative here. And this, of course, is fractional ownership of these collectibles. This, of course, coming from the NBA. And then last up here, I want to go to is a little bit more right here on showing a little bit more about Dibs, just to kind of give you guys an example of how it works. And I don't know. I think if you look at digital collectibles in general, and we start to see these marketplaces really start to, one, outside of a Web3, imagine Amazon, imagine eBay, some of these other marketplaces that could really become home bases. And there's other marketplaces out there too for watches and other collectibles outside of, the traditional kind of collectibles that you might think of, everything from sports card and memorabilia to game cards, etc. Just a lot happening in this space. Now, what's interesting about this is how Brinks is involved in this. Now, Brinks, I'm talking about the armored car company, is involved in being able to create some value behind this. Are they a potential, maybe something to watch here, in terms of, if you're thinking just traditional stocks out there right now? I mean, you kind of look at Brinks right in general. Is that a play? What would you guys think? Let me know down below. All right, another category is Metaverse Open Worlds. This is category 12. Looks like we're on 12, yeah. And there's 3 major ones to keep an eye on. One is Spatial, Life Beyond, and then Wilder World. And all of these, Spatial we've talked about before, Life Beyond not as much, but Wilder World for sure with the Wilder token. But this shows Spatial. I mean, they've really done a good job of just showing the potential of what a metaverse world might look like, and definitely the potential for where this technology could be going. So definitely a leader in that capacity. And if you think about this, so this is their in-game currency. So could this actually be converted to a token at one point? That would be very, very bullish for what Spatial is doing. So definitely one to keep an eye on. All right, just to give you an example, there's the Life Beyond founder key, definitely moving up in terms of how these collectibles are taking place. So good stuff there. And let's go into our next one, which is Wilder World. This, of course, was Wilder World. They did this big pop-up here during Art Basel in Miami, but this was their midnight in Miami heating up. But their game, there was a lot of people that were playing this and really, really, I think, loved it. And I think this, again, is going to be one to watch. Wild is one that I hold in terms of the token, so I'm somewhat bullish on this one for sure. SportFi, definitely on fire. I think there's some winners here for sure. Chiliz, of course, we've talked about. We have them in the MSI. We've been tracking them for quite some time. Sorare, I think Chiliz obviously on the utility side. Sorare tied a bit more toward NBA and other sports components. And then DraftKings with Reignmakers, definitely on the front end of what we're going to see in terms of SportFi. Let me go over to a couple of clips here. I want to play this first clip on Chiliz. Listen in.
1, 2, 3, 4. Hey.
In our case, as we do fan tokens, it's all about what can a utility token can bring to a fan like you anywhere in the world. Fan token holders of, I'm not sure if it was Galatasaray or Trabzonspor, but were able to vote on what number the player is going to have on the jersey when they just sign this new player. Maybe a small thing for anybody who doesn't care, but for people who cares, it's very important.
So, I mean, utility, definitely very important. Chili's done a really good job with that. So let me know if you guys think Chili's is going to be one of the winners in SportFi. The other one, of course, is Sorare. We actually had Sorare on our show over 2 years ago. And it was when they were first breaking out. This is a quick clip, just how they've tied into the NBA. Listen in.
And you just won't quit.
Never.
There's another L coming your way.
Bro, at least I'm on top of the leaderboards.
Yeah, not for long.
Yo, you're not gonna believe what I just won.
It's an official signed jersey, my man.
Thanks, Jalen Brunson.
You got it.
Yo, you
got something wild. All-Star Game tickets!
Win cash rewards.
Merch, signed by me.
Game tickets and VIP experiences.
Play so rare NBA.
Fantasy reimagined.
So they've come a long way, I think, since the first time we talked to them, which where they were mostly in the soccer and European football area. But I think that's a big one to watch as well. The other, of course, is DraftKings and Reignmakers, and this I think sets the standard for how we will see. Remember, DraftKings is now a major sponsor of the NFL. They're absolutely on fire in terms of stock. But you look at how they've been able to integrate blockchain and digital collectibles. This is what I mean by major businesses figuring out a model around what we're going to see going forward. So definitely a good one on SportFi. Let's get into gambling and casino side of things. There's really only one winner, and I think that really by a long way, even though there's a handful of others out there. But I was thinking about this weekend when I was watching a lot of the football. And ESPN Bets, highly advertised. So it's showing an appetite for the industry. But if you think about the ones within Web3, the one that I would put in the top of the list actually is in the top of the list, and that's Rollbit. Rollbit, by a long way, market cap at 466, volume kind of see pretty much dominating that over some of the others within this category. It's a light category, but I think it's a big market that could get into mainstream around Web3. So keep an eye on Rollbit as well. Let's go into our next category, and that is going to be meme coins. I know everybody loves this one, meme coins. The big ones, of course, ApeCoin, yes, when that launches, Bonk, and then Kakino, I think, is clearly going to be the ones that we have to keep an eye on. There will be others, though. We're going to see a whole slew of these things start to make their way. And I think everybody who trades them, it's fun. And in many cases, it's kind of showcasing that it's serious business. And if you think about serious business, AVAX Foundation says, hey, don't worry about it. We're going to put a 100 million incubator fund to do nothing but buy meme coins. That's Avalanche. Okay? Serious company. They understand this is an opportunity because it is an opportunity in the investing. And I think if you think about Wall Street bets and what has happened even within securities, it translates well into this community. So meme coins definitely on the rise here for sure. All right, so the other one to keep an eye on, of course, is ApeCoin and its own blockchain launching. If you look at the timeline here, so there was the RFP, December 28th, proposal submission. January 11th is the deadline, so this is coming soon. And then voting round 1 and 2, February, and then a second round depending on how this happens. So this chain is going to launch. That too will cause quite a bit of activity, I think, on ApeCoin. So ApeCoin definitely on my list for sure. Kakino was the other one, of course, and Kakino just continues to fly and perform. And if you look at Bonk, it's right there. Number 10, of course, Doge, but these are the meme coins ranked, Shiba Inu. Can you imagine if Bonk or Kakino or other ape coins were to be able to get to this level in terms of performance? Because remember, Doge still sticking around. Shiba Inu still sticking around. Volume on Doge right now, almost $500 million right now on just the 24. So definitely, these are serious things to pay attention to. All right, let's go to our category 16 NFT collections. The top 3, Pudgy Penguins, Claynosaurs, and also the Artifact Animus project. So all of these, Pudgy, of course, is pretty much the leader. Pudgy Penguins absolutely killed it, both on the physical side, the NFT side, and I think there's a lot more to come from them in 2024. So keep an eye on that one. And you can kind of see here's a little bit more on what's happened with Pudgy Penguins continuing to climb. Obviously, you have to think about Project Animus now launching. This could be real. And I don't know if you guys followed this one on OpenSea, but they were these eggs. These are essentially what would come out of these collectibles. So if you're really into NFTs, this may be one to keep an eye on going forward. And of course, Claynosaurs was pretty much a no-brainer. We did a couple of videos with the Claynosaurs team. And, this is still, I think, yet to be determined how successful this could be because there's so much opportunity here with Claynosaurs, obviously riding on Solana. And the opportunity here, I think, is big. Go back and watch that video. It goes through a whole roadmap of what they're up to. So definitely one to keep an eye on. All right, we'll get into a couple of things here just in case you guys missed it. This is some of the this has kind of become one of the things with Claynosaurs. Obviously, it looks like they're going to have AR, VR integrated into this. So that will only continue, I think, their opportunity of really kind of spreading the gap here. This is kind of the interesting thing, too. Timing is very important with these NFT projects. These projects, like Pudgy Penguins, like Claynosaurs, like Animus, their timing might be perfect for this run. If you look back in the dead of the bear market, who were some of the NFT projects that you guys saw launch? You probably saw VFriends come out, and then you saw things like Moonbirds, etc. Ran very strong, but didn't really have the staying power. That's the question mark. I think, will this become, this next era of, apes? Will this become the next era of, these landslide, successes around NFTs? I don't know. These are the two ones that I do like going forward. Let's go into our last section. This is gaming and NFT stocks to watch. And I think these have been on our radar for quite some time. You guys probably watched them as well. One, of course, is Unity. Unity has done a ton, with the exception of when they decided to, kind of go at the creator community. But outside of that, this as a one, I think it's been depressed so much since that. Maybe this is a play if you're looking at traditional securities. The other one, of course, is Roblox. This is Kathy Wood's #1 play. And I think this one has an opportunity, just with what we have seen, of the potential of digital collectibles coming into Roblox. If that happens, and this could be the year that it does, Roblox is going to go absolutely berserk for sure. And of course, Nike. And you got to think about Das Swoosh and their strategy, what they've been able to do with the EA partnerships, what they've been able to do just in general with brand IP. This one is going to be one to watch as well. All right, last up here, and I know that you guys are probably saying, but Paul, you forgot about this one or forgot about that one. Let me know in the comments down below. I mean, we'd do a 4-hour video here if we had every single project that we think had legs. These are the ones that we think are at the top of their categories. Go back through, we'll bookmark and kind of give you a rundown on the clips so you guys can kind of catch all this stuff. But let us know what you think. Drop some comments down below. The other thing that you have to be looking out for is this last category, and that is a new indie game will become a player. And we've already seen some of this showcase in projects like Honeyland. We've already seen a lot of movement in the space around some of these NFT projects that really kind of came out of nowhere, including Pudgy Penguins. So can there and will there be an indie game that could be rising to that level, and just take over and become the next run of Axie Infinity? Let me know what you guys think. Is there one out there right now sleeping on the sideline that maybe you're looking at? Drop down in the comments below. All right, you guys if you're not part of the Diamond Circle, first thing you got to do is get in. It's very easy. We do additional podcasts over there. We have our Web3 gaming podcast, also a ton more of analysis, and even a podcast I do only available there, not seen here on YouTube. If you guys want to follow me out there on X, it's @PaulBaron. Catch you next time right here on TechPath.